total ignorance. He doesn't know anything about Ukraine. Hey, JD, why don't you take advantage of the people you have access to now? Find out about the CIA's relationship with the organization Ukrainian Nationalists, the Bandera wing, how the CIA has been working with them in secret since then to do X, Y, and Z. And then he might understand the source of Russia's angst. But he doesn't do that. So what he knows is that the war has to come to an end. So he picks the politically expedient thing, thinking that Russia's ready for this war to come to an end. I mean, did he talk to the Russians? JD, did you talk to the Russians? And say, hey, if we freeze it right now where it's at, constitutionally, you guys okay with that? You'll give up all those territories that, constitutionally you say belong to you, but you'll give them up, right? Just to bring this war an end, to make me happy, to fulfill my campaign pledge, to make the voters know how to vote for me more, and to make America. Russia's not going to go along with this. This is stupidity in the extreme.
Today, we're taking a closer look at the ongoing operations in the southern Zaporizhia front, where Russia's military maneuvers are reshaping the battlefield. Key locations like Ugledar, Velyka, and Huliaipole are seeing intensified fighting as Russian forces move with precision, systematically overwhelming Ukrainian defenses. According to Scott Ritter, Russia's approach on this front reflects a sophisticated strategy, one that leverages favorable weather, careful logistical planning, and tactical encirclements. Ukraine's situation grows increasingly precarious as Russia solidifies its positions, creating new opportunities for deeper offensives. This campaign is not just about small tactical gains, it's a deliberate operation designed to dismantle Ukraine's defenses from the inside out. Let's break down these developments one by one, starting with Ugledar, a stronghold that has now fallen into Russian hands. Ugledar was a vital piece of Ukraine's southern defense. But after intense fighting, Russian forces now control this key location, securing more than 10 square kilometers of territory between Ugledar and Velyka. This victory effectively opens the path for further advances toward Velyka and Novokrenka. The fall of Ugledar represents more than just a tactical gain, it's a critical step toward controlling the entire southern Zaporizhia front. Military expert Douglas Macgregor has often highlighted the importance of disrupting Ukrainian logistics, and the capture of Ugledar puts that strategy into full effect. With Ugledar lost, Ukrainian forces are now forced to fall back to secondary defensive positions, weakening their grip on surrounding areas. Russian units, advancing methodically, have also neutralized fortified Ukrainian positions at Velyka, enabling them to push toward Velyka without facing significant resistance. The tactical brilliance here lies in Russia's ability to collapse multiple defense points simultaneously, forcing Ukraine into a series of reactive retreats. With Ugledar secured, the next phase of this operation targets Velyka, a key town standing in the way of Russia's broader strategic objectives. Russia is now executing a coordinated encirclement of Velyka, applying pressure from both Lvivny in the west and Zolota Naiva in the east. This twin-pronged attack is a textbook Russian maneuver designed to isolate Ukrainian forces, disrupt reinforcements, and create conditions for a swift takeover. Velyka's location among multiple rivers makes it difficult to attack head-on, but Russia's strategy avoids unnecessary risks. Instead of direct assaults, they are closing in from both flanks. According to Ritter, this methodical approach forces Ukraine into a defensive posture, limiting their ability to counter Russia's movements. Russia's recent capture of Zolota Naiva plays a critical role here, securing a logistical hub that supports further advances toward Velyka. Ukrainian commanders, aware of the looming encirclement, have tried to send reinforcements from other fronts. However, as Macgregor points out, shifting troops between fronts is risky. It leaves other areas exposed and complicates supply lines. If Velyka falls, it will not only disrupt Ukraine's logistical network, but also serve as a launchpad for Russian forces to press deeper into Zaporizhia. The pincer around Velyka is tightening, but it's only part of a larger operation aimed at the next crucial objective, Huliaipole, a critical point along Ukraine's logistics corridor. Huliaipole sits along a vital logistics corridor connecting Ukrainian forces across the Zaporizhia front. If Russia captures Huliaipole, they will sever these supply lines, leaving Ukrainian units stranded and vulnerable to further attacks. Recent reports suggest that Ukraine has already redeployed troops from Kursk and Kharkiv to reinforce Huliaipole. However, these reinforcements may be too little, too late. Russian forces are moving toward Huliaipole with overwhelming speed, leaving Ukraine with few options but to try and delay the inevitable. Military analysts, including Ritter, emphasize that Huliaipole's capture would have far-reaching consequences. It would give Russia access to Pokrovsky, a key logistical hub, and allow them to control critical supply routes across southern Ukraine. As Russian units converge on this target, Ukrainian commanders have acknowledged that they lack the defensive infrastructure to hold the town indefinitely. The fall of Huliaipole would further destabilize Ukraine's southern defenses and set the stage for a deeper Russian offensive. With the battle for Huliaipole heating up, Russia is also taking advantage of favorable weather and terrain to push forward on multiple fronts. Weather is playing a decisive role in this phase of the campaign. As conditions worsen in northern Donetsk, Russian forces are capitalizing on the more favorable weather along the southern Zaporizhia front, creating an operational window of opportunity. This shift in weather patterns has given Russia a tactical edge, enabling them to maintain momentum, organize logistics efficiently, and coordinate troop movements without significant disruptions. It's worth noting that deteriorating weather in the north complicates Ukrainian efforts to reinforce or reposition their troops along this sector. Roads are turning muddy, and air support becomes unreliable due to cloud cover and rain. In contrast, the clearer skies and dry terrain in the south are facilitating Russian operations, especially along the key axes between Velyka and Huliaipole. As Scott Ritter have observed, the Russian military excels at exploiting both terrain and weather to its advantage. Their ability to maneuver quickly in favorable conditions means fewer delays and ensures that Ukrainian units remain under constant pressure. Russian commanders have likely anticipated this seasonal shift, planning their offensive to coincide with the last window of good weather in the region before winter fully sets in. Meanwhile, Ukrainian forces are struggling with the dual burden of shifting fronts and adverse weather in the north. Commanders have diverted resources to defend key positions like Velyka and Huliaipole, but the logistical strain is growing. Reinforcements from Kursk and Kharkiv face delays and difficulties moving southward through worsening conditions, further complicating their ability to hold the line. The advantage here is not just logistical, it's psychological. Russian troops can move swiftly and decisively while Ukraine's forces grow fatigued from constant repositioning under deteriorating conditions. Ritter emphasizes that this kind of calculated exploitation of the environment is a hallmark of Russian doctrine, designed to keep adversaries off balance and drain their resources over time. Russia's ability to maintain uninterrupted momentum is especially evident in their recent advances near Rivnopil, where Ukrainian defenses have thinned. These environmental factors are multiplying the effectiveness of Russia's strategic planning, transforming weather into a powerful, if silent, ally. The longer this window of favorable conditions lasts, the more opportunities Russia has to press deeper into Ukrainian defenses. With weather on their side and Ukrainian defenses faltering, Russian forces are accelerating their push toward Rivnopil, a crucial step in the ongoing encirclement of Velyka. Russian forces have made considerable strides near Rivnopil, securing several key positions that are critical for tightening the encirclement of Velyka. With control over Rivnopil, Russian units have disrupted vital Ukrainian supply routes and blocked critical paths for reinforcements, leaving the defenders with few viable escape routes. The capture of Rivnopil serves as a textbook example of Douglas Macgregor's described strategy, a steady, grinding advance that methodically wears down the opponent. Russian units, rather than launching reckless assaults, have gradually eliminated fortified positions, making it impossible for Ukrainian forces to regroup effectively. This kind of attritional warfare drains both manpower and morale, as Ukrainian troops are forced to abandon previously defended areas with little chance of recovery. The fall of Rivnopil has broader implications beyond tactical control. It pushes the encirclement of Velyka closer to completion. As Russian units fortify their positions in Rivnopil, the southern approach to Velyka becomes increasingly vulnerable. With reinforcements from Lavadny and Zolotynivka advancing in tandem, the noose around Velyka continues to tighten. This leaves Ukrainian commanders with a stark choice: either withdraw under pressure or risk the town being fully encircled and cut off from the rest of their defensive network. At this stage, even small shifts in the battlefront have major consequences. Securing Rivnopil means Russian forces now control the high ground surrounding the area, providing tactical advantages for artillery placements and further troop deployments. This also allows Russian units to intercept any Ukrainian reinforcements attempting to reach Velyka from the north or east. The psychological impact of these losses cannot be underestimated. As Ritter often emphasizes, such incremental victories create an atmosphere of inevitability, weakening the resolve of defending forces. Ukrainian troops, aware of the shrinking options, are increasingly being forced into reactive positions, retreating piecemeal to avoid entrapment. Meanwhile, Russian forces press forward without hesitation, maintaining operational momentum. With Rivnopil under Russian control, it is now only a matter of time before the encirclement of Velyka is fully achieved. Once that happens, Ukrainian forces defending the town will face near certain isolation with no realistic prospect of relief or escape. As the news tightens, the potential for a mass Ukrainian withdrawal grows, a decision that could further destabilize defenses across the Zaporizhia front. The tactical success at Rivnopil also highlights a larger trend in this campaign. Russian forces are not only winning individual battles, but are reshaping the broader operational landscape. By eliminating Ukrainian control over logistical hubs like Rivnopil, Russia is gaining leverage across multiple fronts, setting the stage for future advances into Huliaipole and beyond. As the situation deteriorates around Velyka and Huliaipole, it becomes increasingly clear that Russia's broader strategic objective, dominating the logistics network across Zaporizhia and pushing toward Pokrovsky, is now well within reach. With the encirclement of Velyka and the advance toward Huliaipole, Russia is positioning itself for a deeper offensive aimed at Pokrovsky. Securing Pokrovsky would not only disrupt Ukrainian logistics, but also pave the way for further advances toward the Dnieper River. Scott Ritter has highlighted that this operation is not just about short-term gains, it's part of a larger strategy to establish long-term dominance across the Zaporizhia region. The scale and precision of these operations indicate meticulous planning, with minimal visibility of troop movements a hallmark of Russian strategy. In conclusion, Russia's advances across southern Zaporizhia reflect a carefully coordinated strategy aimed at achieving both tactical and strategic objectives. From Ugledar to Huliaipole, every move reinforces Russia's long-term plans for dominance in the region. With Mr. Scott Ritter's insights, it's clear that Ukraine faces an uphill battle to stop this offensive. The question now is not if, but how far Russia will go and how quickly they can consolidate their gains.